New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And hello again, dear ones. Rev with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
Eamon checking in.
We forgot to warn Eamon about our introduction. My forgiveness, dear brother. Our guest today, Reverend Eamon Duffy of New Thought Men's Communities. Welcome, sir. So good to see you here. How is your beautiful day?
Oh, it's wonderful here in the mountains of Colorado. Can't beat it.
Exactly. This is like a homecoming. You're right up the road. We should have all came up to your cabin, had a day in the mountains and done this all live. So maybe next time we'll do that. But we want to welcome you back to New Thought today. You were with us back in August of last year. I wasn't able to be here, but you and Rev Z were here and had a wonderful conversation. I took a look at some of that video earlier today. So welcome back. And tell us a little bit about what's going on with your ministry and all you're up to in the world.
Oh, my goodness. Where do I start? So much exciting stuff going on. As far as we're moving into doing a global men's gathering here in just a few short weeks, March 15th through the 17th, up in Oregon. So we're super excited about that. And then we also have our New Thought Men's Summit coming this fall in September. So we're really excited about that. 33 New Thought speakers, amazing ministers just speaking on all kinds of different topics that are relating to men right now and our world and what's going on and how we can be more grounded, how we can be more centered in our spiritual practices, and how we can bring that out into our day, and out into the world. So just really excited about that. And we just continue to keep growing our community. And there's some bunch more exciting stuff that we have coming up. But that's kind of the things that are coming up this year anyhow in 2024, the big things.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I think we definitely need some men's gathering. It's always a good time, I feel, for men to get together and just touch in, to see where the men are moving, if you will, and there's so much going on and on all fronts, and for us to check in and figure out, where our role is at this point, what we play, how we play, what we need to improve upon, what we need to accentuate in terms of what we bring to the table. I think there's never a time that's not good for a men's gathering. Let me put it that way.
I 100% agree with you, Elzia.
Well, maybe Valentine's Day, but that's debatable, I guess.
Yeah.
A single men's gathering, maybe. But anyway, so and Eamon, you have a really deep deep history in both men's work and the New Thought movement. Tell everybody a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Well, let me share the story of how I got this, how I realized that this was what I was supposed to be doing. So before I had even entered into ministerial school, I had been a practitioner maybe 8 years or something like that. And I was working on getting into ministerial school. But before I went, I really wanted to take the time and just vision on what would my ministry be. Like if this Science of Mind New Thought philosophy is right, and it says we can have whatever we want, then what would my ministry look like? And so I sat for a year and just visioned on it. And it's kind of hilarious because at one point, you know, that small voice, that kind, peaceful voice came in and was like, you know, Eamon, you've been doing men's work for 30 years. You've been doing New Thought, you know, Science of Mind for 30 years. Why not just put the two together? And of course, I'm like, no, that's too simple. It has to be like this grand vision. And I wish I could go back and just smack myself because it's a plenty big vision to do this, and a joy for sure. It just brings those gifts and talents that I have and that have changed my life, like truly deeply changed my life. Like I can't imagine who I would be without either of these things. And to be able to bring those things together and then bring them to this, my beloved community, is a dream come true. And all the time, I went through ministerial school. I was in ministerial school for about 5 years, and that whole time, it was very clear to me that this was my path. You know, I looked at other things. Oh, do I want to be a pulpit minister? No, not really. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And I just kept coming back to this, and it's still present for me, and I still have such passion behind it and joy behind it, and need behind it. There is such a deep need right now for men, in all of the struggles that are going on in the world for all of us as human beings, to be able to step in and support men in that deep inner growth and that expansion of who men are, providing tools, resources, and support for guys who really want to grow themselves, who want a better relationship, want a better work situation, want a better relationship with their kids, who want a better relationship with themselves or spirit. You know, so I think all of those things get to come together in this ministry, in this New Thought community, and I'm just so excited about it. So that is my passion. That is my kind of my story of how I got here, and the inspiration for what I do.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's fun. Sorry, Robert. You know, you hit on a key point for me, that I was moderating a webinar this morning, and the same key point came up, and that is relationships. And I think, given the environment that we find ourselves in, the ability to understand and build and then maintain relationships is key. And no matter where you are, no matter what the arena, no matter what the organization is. And so as men, especially now, I believe with new emerging leaders, if you will, stepping onto the scene, kind of balancing out the overly male leadership from previous times, we have to understand that relationship itself and the relationship with the new leaders that are coming on board. And so to be able to foster a true, authentic relationship fraught with joys and pains and goods and bads, if you will, to move an idea, to move a organization, to move a community forward is needed, because everybody has a place at the table, and sometimes the male perspective needs to take a back seat.
Yeah, it's so important right now to, well, and of course it's easy for us in New Thought, and especially as ministers, because we're like, oh, I see spirit there, I see spirit there, I see spirit there. It's not necessary. It's not that we don't see who the individual is, because we see that too. But in the deeper seeing of, you have a gift to bring, and you have a gift to bring, and everyone has a gift to bring. And when we're coming from that place of equality, and that everyone has something that they're here to share and to bring and to gift to the world, that's a powerful place. And honestly, the world needs all of it right now. It doesn't need some of it. It needs all of it right now. For us to really survive and to thrive. For me, I want a better world. I want to leave a better world for my, I don't have kids of my own, but my nieces and nephews and my grandkid, or my great niece. How do you say that? Great nieces and nephews. I think it is.
Great nieces and nephews.
But to leave that, better world, that world where everyone is held in that most sacred place of, I see the divine in you. And their gifts are honored. I think that's the future. I do.
Yeah.
No doubt. I want to hit on something else Zia was saying there, and that I have found personally through attending last year's retreat and being as involved as I can in your work and what you're doing and showing up for things, is it's not always easy to find or to create the space for men to be open enough, to feel safe enough to really build those connections and the bonds that are going to be necessary for a long-term friendship. And it takes repetition. It takes time. It takes those numerous opportunities. That's one of the things, the benefit the three of us all receive in ministerial school, is a learning environment that is very open, very just as you're saying, Eamon, right? We see that oneness in everybody from the drop of the hat. And then when something changes, we're able to notice that. We're able to have an authentic conversation. It doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of those spaces out in the world right now, other than within spiritual communities. And so I'm really grateful we have this in the New Thought world as well.
Yeah, it's powerful. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, I was just going to say, the thing that sticks out as you say that, Robert, is this whole thing of being vulnerable, right? Because oftentimes either men are either by, implicit or explicit, the idea of being vulnerable and showing that kind of authenticity has not been cultivated nor promoted. And now we live in a time where you have to allow those kinds of emotions and feelings and approaches to life to crop in.
Yeah, I agree, Elsie. And for a long time, and even still today, society has, indoctrinated us from childhood to be a certain way in society, to shut those emotions down and push them down. And it's no surprise that we men have challenges with dealing with our emotions, in dealing with relationships. I think, honestly, most of the problems or challenges in relationship is because of that forced push down of our authentic self, of who we are. And for us as men to really claim, hey, I'm a holistic being, just like everybody else on this planet. I have emotions, I have thoughts, I have feelings, I have, this body, and I have this spirit, that all of these things are working in conjunction. It's not like, we can try and compartmentalize, and certainly the stereotypical guy is like, hey, I'm a physical dude and I'm here to protect, and I'm up in my head, but those emotions, no. And so I think that's what, the mythopoetic men's movement from the 80s, which is kind of where I draw my inspiration from, is really about exploring that inner world. I mean, that's the work that we do in men's work, and women's work as well, and gender work, is we're really interested in healing that inner world. We're really interested in exploring that inner world. And we do need safe containers to do that. And we do need to build trust. Trust is absolutely the foundation of being able to show up as our authentic selves. And, you know, in men's groups, I found it, in New Thought, I found it, but it's not always out there in the world. You know, in fact, I'd say that's the rarity in the world for our authentic self to really flourish and be welcomed, and to be able to show up as that, in that. And so, you know, to create these situations like the gatherings, like men's groups, you know, like all of the work that we do, rite of passage work, which is helping us to, you know, honor those natural transitions that all men and women go through in their lives, to be able to have some kind of a conscious marking. We do these transitions in very unconscious ways, but if we do them in conscious ways, we're allowing that psyche, we're allowing that emotional, intellectual, soul maturity, and even body maturity for us to be able to show up in a different way. And I think if we honestly look at the society today that we're living in, I would say we're stuck in a teenage society that wants to move into healthy, mature adulthood, but hasn't quite got it yet. We're stuck still in the me situations instead of the us. Hey, we're in this together. And we can see it out picturing in our planet or in environment, you know, in so many different ways. And so to create those safe spaces that authentic self can come in, that the healing work that our souls really want to do can show up, and that we can show up for that, it helps us become these healthy, mature, masculine expressions that we're really meant to be.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, you struck on something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's this whole idea of rites of passage, right? Because when we look at ancient and indigenous communities, right, as an example, and understanding how their integration and holistic approach to life operates, there are rites of passages from everything from pre-birth to the ancestral realm, right? And so there are these markers, if you will, on the trajectory of life that at a certain, you know, it's I often try to look at it like driving a manual 4-speed, right? I can only go so far in gear 1 when I start speeding up, or else, you know, I'm finna cause some problems, and I gotta shift to gear 2, or we're gonna cause damage. And just that same way when we look at rites of passages, you know, there's a level and speed of everything that you get to a certain point, but when you get there, you'll either start sputtering or you need to cross over to that next gear. And that's what these rites of passage programs are for, whether they're for male or female. It's cross gender, but we have to begin to acknowledge them and be willing to let go of something to gain something unknown, and go through the trials and tribulations to get to the unknown. It's just not something, no, yeah, here's your car, you're in. But there's some lessons and things, and you got to learn. And I think for men and women and teens and seniors and ancestors, everybody has a part to play in this universal global oneness, and we have to begin to step up, I think.
Amen. I want to jump
I feel like there's mainly 7 of those rites of passages, organic rites of passages that we go through in life. That's birth, childhood, young adulthood, teenage, adulthood, midlife, and elderhood, and then finally when we pass, when we transition and leave this body. And so I think we focus on the main four, which is, the teenage rite of passage, which we don't have yet. The young adults in their 20s and 30s, and then that midlife 40s and 50s time that I just went through was a powerful transition. And then elderhood, of course. And where else do we get these things? Where else do we get these thresholds to cross and to be able to get mentorship and support and have other people around us that we respect and that have gone through that before? I think as a society we miss a lot of that, and a lot of that indigenous peoples and spiritual traditions have those in beautiful ways. And I feel like a lot of that has gotten lost in our society. And we're not there then able to take that next step. And it is scary. Like you said, Elzia, it's a scary next step. Moving from childhood to teenage years, that's a crazy transition. Moving from teenage years into adulthood, that's a crazy transition. I'm in awe of these kids these days who are going through those transitions. And because it is so much more stressful and challenging for them these days with the, social media, with all of that stuff that's out there. We had a phone that hung on the wall when I was growing up. So it was, it wasn't so invasive. There wasn't people recording everything. It was just a different experience. And so just really being able to have that support to navigate those challenges these days, I think is imperative. And unfortunately we're seeing a real rise in suicides, especially in men right now. And there are ways that we can reduce that. And it's through connection. It's through friendship. It's through men's groups. It's through showing up and mentoring young men and having that support along that crazy path that we organically go one way or another.
Yeah. Absolutely. You speak great wisdom, my friend. You speak great wisdom, because it's too easy in today's society for these things to slip through the cracks, to be pushed to the side. And I wasn't brought up in a spiritual community of any sort, or even a religious community for that matter, in any sort. And so the rite of passage was, here's a pool cue and let's go to the bar. And a lot of people have that experience where, and then wake up to spirituality a little bit later in life and realize, wow, I didn't really have that. And therefore we still, I think we each need to move through these, even if we have left one behind. Yeah. So I think I know I've seen that in men's work, that sometimes we need that safe place to regress, to go way back, to really look at, wow, I mucked this one up, or wow, I still feel very cheated around this aspect of my life, and to really again dig in deep. So I think I want to emphasize before we go on our break here, that when we talk about a men's retreat, I've also been to the style that's much more like a party for the weekend than it is any really deep work. And what I've experienced with you is it's very much the latter. It's very much the deeper work. It's very much an opportunity to get away from those, let's call them more materialistic rites of passage ceremonies. It's more getting away from a lot of that, the stuff that isn't spiritual, and really being willing to take that deeper dive.
That's the invitation anyhow, is to show up and be able to do that deep work, because the places where we get to do that are rare. And so when we have that space, when we're able to go deep into it, when we're able to have those moments of sharing where we're actually genuinely and lovingly listened to, and that's what I love about men's work and New Thought, is we listen on a whole different level, I feel, because we're listening with this high consciousness about, I see the truth in you emerging. And I can't tell you how many amazing healings, amazing breakthroughs, amazing transformations that happen not only in the weekend, but afterwards, when it really deepens, or when, men decide, yeah, you know what, I really loved going this weekend and hanging out with the guys and doing the work. What if I did that every week or every other week, and being in a men's group for, I was in one for almost 24 years before we finally had a completion. But it was amazing. These guys know me on such a deep level, and I'm still friends with them. They're probably the people who know me the closest. And so, this is where we're really going, and this is what we're really seeking, is men that can be in your life and supporting your life on a regular basis, so that you have that not only support, but accountability when you need that. Someone to tell you the hard truth sometimes, guys to just, give you a hug and tell you it's going to be okay. Where you can be, I think somebody said vulnerable, where we can be truly vulnerable. Sometimes even the best of us have trouble letting go of that, masculine kind of outpicturing in our relationships, and, want to be strong for the relationship and want to show up for our families and want to do the right thing, and oftentimes we're number 7, on that totem pole instead of number 1, filling our glass up so that we're able to come to our beloveds, to our kids, to our community, to, the world with our glass full and saying, hey, I have this to bring to the world, instead of like, I'm so exhausted and depleted, I barely have enough time to read my kids something and tuck them in at night, as it may be. So to be able to really prioritize that health and well-being, on so many levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, then for myself anyhow, I get to show up in a way different way than I would have by putting me at, in the 5th position or the 3rd position or the 7th position, but moving it right up to the top and saying, yeah, I can be my full self. And then I show up much better, much more powerful, much more beautifully, much more joyfully, much more lovingly in everything that I do.
Beautiful. All right. Well, folks, we need to take a quick break, let a couple of our sponsors say hello, and let you learn a little bit more about what's happening here on the New Thought Media Network. However, we're not going away, and we're going to invite you not to go away. Stick around. We'll be back with more with Rev Eamon Duffy and learning about the men's community, the New Thought men's community. So please stick around. We'll be right back after these messages.
a treat. It was a bonding. It was a celebration of men. It was a celebration of men who want to deepen in their spiritual awareness of one another, of themselves.
Welcome. We are a brotherhood of spiritually minded and open-hearted positive men. We invite you to join us.
And I came in knowing one person, I left knowing all of the group. And I feel like I came in knowing meeting strangers, but knowing and leaving brothers.
Come experience the New Thought Men's Gathering, Foundations 2024. Friday, March 15th through Sunday, March 17th. With Reverend Robert Brzezinski, Reverend Patrick Creelman, Reverend Eamon Duffy, and special guest musician Jamie Lula. In Vernonia, Oregon, at Camp Cedar Ridge. Learn more and register at www.newthoughtmens.community.
And we're back on New Thought today with our special guest, Reverend Eamon Duffy. And I don't know why I thought we were saving that till the third segment. In the pre-show, I was like, yeah, we'll do that at the year. What was I thinking? We needed to be able to talk about this because I'm honestly really, really excited for what's being created and how this whole year is sort of coming around for the upcoming retreat. So we want the whole pitch this time, Eamon, because this is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and let everybody know a little bit more. What are we going to experience, and what could they expect by being with us for a weekend in Oregon?
Yeah, well, I'll give you some of the tidbits. So this year, kind of our theme is foundations. Because I feel like that's where we're at in this community, is we're really building our foundation. And so the question came up, we have this really creative process that we go through to get the information, visioning, and just our whole group participates in, and that eventually the wisdom shows up. And so we're kind of like, for me, I'm going through, in this community, we're going through, what is the foundation of New Thought Men's community? What is that? And so looking at that, not only as an organization, but looking at that in, like, what does our community need? Like, what do men need right now? What's important to us? What's going on in societally? What's going on in men's lives personally? And their work lives, their relationship lives, all of these things. And what are the foundational pieces that really support all of that expression? And I think for me anyhow, it always goes back to spirit. It always goes back to that foundational experience of, I am the divine. And I'm in here expressing, I'm here co-creating with the universe. What am I choosing to co-create? And oftentimes what we get is that unconsciousness, right? We get it from our childhood. We get it from our parents. We get it from our teachers. We get it much like who we are as men. All of that stuff is wrapped up because we come in going, hey, I'm new to this place. Everybody give me the information I need to be here and to be successful. And so people give you all this information, both consciously and energetically on multiple levels. And we take that in because we're just sponges as babies and as kids, really just absorbing all of it, wanting to be loved and wanting to love, wanting to please. And so it's not until I really got into New Thought in my early 20s and started going, hey, our thoughts are things, and, our beliefs are created by our thoughts. Do I want to rewrite some of these unconscious patterns that this wonderful computer up here keeps running, but is not making my life better, is not bringing me happiness, is not bringing me joy, abundance, success, all of the things that were really the good stuff, right? The good stuff in life that we're really wanting. And at some point, I think all new thought, all people who come into new thought hit this, and understand this. It's like these deep beliefs are running in the background. It's like the computer operating system running in the background. And if we don't choose consciously, that computer just keeps running. It's like, oh, this is coming up again. Run that program that we've run for the last, 40 years. Keep running that one until we choose, until we decide to say, you know what? That one isn't really helping me so much. I think I'm going to change that because I am a divine being and I am, I have abundance within me. I have 7 octillion atoms within my body that comprise this human form. How can you possibly say that we aren't abundant? I mean, that's as many stars as there are in the universe. And so we are that microcosm to that macrocosm. And we have the ability, we have been given that free will to choose what it is that we want. And the more we're able to choose consciously, the more we're able in supporting, in blessing, in releasing those old beliefs, those traumas sometimes that we as human beings get, and we all have, to be able to say, you know what, I'm ready to set that down, and I'm ready to do the inner work to have a healthy relationship. I'm ready to do the work to have that love that I want. I'm ready to do the work to have the relationship with life, with the universe, with the divine that I've always wanted, instead of what was given to me when I was growing up, which didn't work for me personally anyhow.
Right. And you made me think of something there. I remember one of the first rites of passage type programs that I was involved in. There's this saying, I think it's been attributed to Satchel Paige. I'm not sure if that's the case, but the question was, to think about who were you before you were born, right? Because that is your authentic self. And if you can tap into that program, it can run automatic. But we've had so many different little subroutines and sometimes whole rewriting of parts of the code, if you will, that we lose touch with that, as you're saying, foundational code of who we are and what we are and why we're here. And so as we go through these interleads, we can take these quiet moments, we can take these reflective moments and these contemplative moments where we ask the deep question and then just sit there and figure out what's kind of come through, what's being brought up, so that we can really own our stuff, whatever the stuff is, and then allow ourselves to move forward. And if we can't get all the way back to the base routine, we go back to as close as we can, because in computers, which I've spent my whole career in computers, when something starts going wrong with all the add-ons, the first thing you go is, all right, let's go back to the operating system that's controlling everything, and let's just go back and find out where the bad code is, if you will, and let's remove it or replace it or augment it or whatever the case might be.
Yep. Time to turn it on and back, or off and back on again, and see if the reboot helps.
Yeah.
And ultimately going in and doing the deep dive and just saying, hey, is this the life that I want? Is this who I really am? And I loved what you said there, Elzia, because there is that foundational code, there is that foundational blueprint in all of us. And it's simply I think anyhow, removing all the excess stuff that we've overlaid on top of it to get to that really good stuff. And that's where our brilliance lies. That's where our genius lies. That's where the light within us just goes, yes, and becomes alive. And, that is, I think what we're all seeking is true aliveness, to really be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
If it's true that the highest and greatest good for us is happening everywhere, always, and I truly believe that, in negative moments, in hard moments, it's hard to see that. But when we realize that that is the case, then that focuses our perceptive lens, this wonderful, perceptive thing that colors everything that we see. It's able to see, where is my good? Where is my brilliance? Where is my genius lying? Instead of, oh, where's the next problem going to come from? Where's the next pain going to come? Where's the next difficulty? Oh, woe is me, being stuck in that victim mentality, instead of being a truly empowered person and to say, hey, you know what? This is what's going on. It's in my life for some reason. I'm ready to learn that reason, and to recognize that we have this internal knowing that is connected to the wisdom of the cosmos. Ernest Holmes called it the one mind. And it's a beautiful and powerful thing for us to know that we don't need to go through someone else to get that wisdom. We don't need to look elsewhere but within and go, okay, I'm open to my good. Show it to me. And it will show up. It's powerful.
Yes.
Of course, that's new thought. That's science of mind, right? Foundational stuff.
Exactly. And sometimes, I said this to someone yesterday. Sometimes it takes a little beat upside the head. It takes a few more impressions before I pay attention. Sometimes the answer's right there in front of me, and I don't want to see it. And I'm, oh, wait a minute. And again, that's where to keep kind of on topic with today, that's where a great men's group does really well too, is being able to say bluntly, and not with a mean spirit or anything of that nature, not with a competitiveness, but with an actual sense of caring that, hey, dude, open your eyes. Its spirit is right there, knocking on the door, pounding and knocking and knocking and pounding and knocking and pounding, and you're not opening the door. You've got to be willing to step up. One of my phrases for this year that I'm really just digging into is to step up and stand out. Not just say yes to stuff, not just volunteer for stuff, not just be a part of stuff, but be extraordinary, be an example, be that living demonstration of new thought, stand out as someone that believes this, as someone that practices this, as someone that is demonstrating the philosophy and these principles over and over and over again. Step up to what's calling you and then stand out in the world for others to see. And I think that's a big part of where the movement is right now. I think that's a big part of the future of New Thought, is we've been hiding our light under the bushel. We've been playing small. I got a few of those. I got a few analogies there we could throw in. But there it is.
You know, Rob, no, I was going to say you brought one up for me, in that, you know, we were talking before the air. We were talking about the One Love movie by Bob Marley, about his life biopic, and there's a verse in the song Exodus that says, "Open your eyes and look within. Are you satisfied with the life you're living?" And that's what men's work, or any kind of rites of passage work, is, you know, look within, and are you satisfied, as you were just saying, with just showing up or showing out, as they say. And if you're not satisfied with the life you're living, you know, you got to step.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and I love what you're saying. And for me, that's my personal mission, is to be able to stand in that truth of be the example, be the model as best as I can, as this human man that I am as well, but to be the best model that I can be, um, for people in my life. And I think that's why we have so much training. That's why we have, leadership training. That's why we have all of the stuff that we do. Is there are so many skills out there. There are so many tools out there. There's so much support out there. And it's simply a matter of reaching out and getting that support. And those are the practices. Those are some of the practices that are going to come with our New Thought Men's Summit in the fall. Is with these great speakers, they're each going to present a tool as well, or a piece that we can that can help us really do that inner work and successfully navigate all of those pieces. Like you said, whether it's just in our for our own lives, whether it's in our family, our community, as a leader, or on the world stage. We all need to really do that deep dive and get those resources, not only the conscious resources, but also the spiritual resources within, to be able to show up in our magnificence, in our brilliance, in our genius, in our beauty, in all that stuff. And that world is the world that really excites me, when that is our focus, when we are truly seeking to create this world that works for everyone, this better world that works for everyone. And I think that's where we're headed. At least that's what I got my money on.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I almost hear Althea doing a firing on all cylinders parable right about now. So
yeah, that Bob Marley song, the punchline, and this is early for final thoughts, but the pivotal question, I think, for all of us to ask is, are you satisfied with the life you're living? I mean, that's a very powerful contemplating question, because we know within ourselves things that we're not doing up to the ability that we can, or things that we're shying away from because we know somebody that does it maybe a little better and we think we can't compete, or whatever the case might be. But the question is, and that's what this work is about, as I see it, if you have that, you can't be satisfied with the life you're living if you got all this stuff that's waiting and ready to be shared and provided and given, and you're finding an excuse or whatever, self included, not to bring it out.
There's a piece in all of this that that makes me smile and makes me laugh and makes me cry all at the same time, because I think this is, we are dancing around that human condition that says, I haven't done enough. I didn't make it, or I'm not worthy. And it can, and I know, knowing everyone here, I know that none of us want anybody to walk away from this conversation saying, damn, I didn't do it. I think that there is also a place, because I feel the divine is just yelling, screaming at me through between the two of you. This has been like a great coaching session for me, and you don't even know it. Okay, like you've just been like popping me with all kinds of things about a pretty big question I have going on in my ministry, and it isn't ready to be talked about publicly. But you guys are, batting me around like a ping pong ball here, I guess. So, but in a good way. That, again, I think we've come to that point. We're not at final thoughts just yet, Z, so you don't stop thinking. we're at that point where we're actually demonstrating the principles we've been talking about, because three guys sitting around talking about life, talking about philosophy, talking about what's important and how we can all show up more authentically in this type of a setting in order to show up more authentically and make a bigger and create a greater impact in society, in the evolution of human consciousness. And that's exciting to find a place where that can happen. So yes, at the right, everybody out, anyone out there that's a man, that considers themselves a man, and we're not trying to be. I like what you said earlier, Z. It's not. It's crossing over in gender. It's holding the whole container. Men, we're having a gathering. And then later in the year, and I can't wait to see and witness how this all unfolds. So I want you to give us the once over on it one more time, Eamon, for the virtual conference that you're doing later in the fall. See, I've already forgotten.
Yeah, sure. It's the New Thought Men's Summit, and
right.
it's the first one that we're doing. We'll have 33 speakers. All New Thought speakers or ministers in our community that just have something to bring to the men of this community. And I think we're so hungry for it right now. We as men, we're seeing socially and politically all this upheaval, and I feel like that's kind of the change process, the evolution process. Oftentimes we're pushed to this maximum, of our uncomfortableness, which is very uncomfortable right now. So I'm hoping that there is a big shift, and especially for us as men, to really embrace this greater awareness and this greater consciousness, this greater equality, this greater love, this greater passion. There's so much that is going on right now. I mean, all you got to do is just look at YouTube, look at the news, and it puts us or puts me anyhow, I'll own it. It puts me in a state of fear. It puts me in a state of struggle. It puts me in a state of like, what is going on? And for us to really realize, where are the true resources? The resources are not, some of the resources are online, but the true resources are within us. The true resources are friendship and connection and brotherhood and sisterhood and community, our New Thought communities, the brick and mortar churches. And we hope to have men's groups in each and every New Thought center. That's one of our big missions, is to bring that in, and especially through what we're doing with the videos, because we'll use those videos and then we'll be able to create this kind of plug and play men's group where it doesn't really need a leader to start it, where you can just go to these videos and say, okay, what topic do we want to talk on tonight? Or what topic do we want to discuss today? And the guys will have a little pray in, a little check in, and have a great discussion topic from, some pretty big names in New Thought. And we're really excited about that, to be able to offer that.
Nice. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, folks, we're going to take one more real quick break because we're almost out of time, but we need to say hello here, and we need to give everybody a quick second to think about what they want to share as our final thought for the day. We'll be back in 20 seconds. Watch this. Yep, I told you it was a quick commercial break. 20 seconds is all we had for that one. We invite you to join us all day on Sunday afternoons for a host of talks from a bunch of New Thought leaders. And that's why I wanted to share that one, because that's what I heard. And that's my big final thought is, I love being in learning communities and growing communities and evolving communities. And that's what I've been finding with the New Thought Men's community, is a place where I can learn, where I can grow. And as you see, beyond the bill, and help to lead as well, and help to serve in everyone's evolution, because this isn't a one-time thing. This isn't a Sunday morning only gig. This is a way of life. And New Thought is a way of life that requires us to give all of ourselves, but the promise of the return is far greater than anything I've ever experienced. And again, I want to thank you guys for the coaching session you didn't know you were doing, because I got a whole new perspective on something here today. So, Reverend Eamon, final thoughts.
Yeah, I would say this is the best investment I've ever made in my life, for sure, is New Thought and Men's work. And so the challenge I want to issue is, if you're a guy out there, and especially if you're a minister, a practitioner, or have done men's work, come be a part of our community. We're really growing over the next 3 or 4 years and need men who can step into this. And if you're a guy who's out there and looking for support, this is it. Become a part of our community. Sign up. Go to the gathering. It's going to be awesome. We've done this for 5 years, and it's truly powerful. And I would say the last thing is thank you to the women out there, because for myself, I speak. I wouldn't have found men's work if it hadn't been for a specific woman in my life. And she's the one who encouraged me to go and to have this, this connection, this sangha with other men of like-mindedness. And so women, you hold an immense amount of power to support this work in the world, and to encourage the men in your lives that you love. And I hope you do encourage them to do it, because we all need this kind of work right now, men and women. We all need more support than we have. So yeah, I'm just feeling a lot of gratitude here for this time and this space. So thanks, Robert.
Yes.
Thanks, Olivia.
Thank you. Z, anything more you want to add? Or are you letting your forward
I think, I'll let that stand, and I'll wrap it up with, I am my brother's keeper, and that we have to come together in this idea of each one teach one. We all bring certain unique gifts to the world to elevate, to work through things. And so if we can create that each one teach one, and know that I am my brother's keeper, I think things will move easily and effortlessly as we begin to create this world that works for all.
Beautiful. Thank you. Folks, you can learn more at the men's community website, newthoughtmens.community. That's newthoughtmens.community. The link's in the description as well. It's been going across your screen. Reverend Eamon, thanks for being with us. Look forward to having you again real soon.
Thanks, guys.
Until next time, everyone, we want to wish you peace and rich blessings. Bye now.
Blessings.